is episode 59. I missed the 50 mark to have a super celebration there, so maybe I'll do something for the 60th episode. This will be next week will be episode 30. Last season I actually only got 30 episodes in because I started around June, I think, or July. So this will be exciting to see where it's going to go, where Javier In The Air is going to go. A little bit of a stumble right now because I'm still trying to get a lineup of interviewees on the show. So if you have something you want to talk about other than religion and politics, then let me know and I'll interview you on the show. So this week I have some stuff that I actually did. So we're going to get to it. I have a couple of things from Pinballz right here, very close to me, about a 5-minute drive from me. I actually got to go to Pinballz, and they have started axe throwing. So I'm going to show a little bit of the axe throwing there that I had my guest with me. And so she doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be on the show. And so also, I was there, and they have a fantastic whiskey bar. So if you haven't had a chance to stop by their whiskey bar, I don't think it's open every day. I think it's open Thursday through Sunday. And we were there on Thursday, so we got to meet a nice guy named Shane, and I'll talk a little bit about the whiskey bar. Then we have our Zen Moment, and then we have our beer. So let's get into it, and I'll have some stops in between as always, but let's go to Pinballz first and the axe throwing. So here's Pinballz. This is like pretty much right when you walk in. There's a counter, but then directly to the right is the go-kart. So they have certain minimums, for the junior height, for adult height, that sort of thing. And so it's really cool, and I got there early, so they were just beginning to start doing something with it. But it turned out to be a really cool location, which is right close to Lake Creek Parkway, on Lake Creek Parkway, right by the Wendy's and right by the coat factory. So here's the shot I should have done first, but there's the adult height. You can't be too tall and you can't be too short to do it. I might go back and actually do some go-karts. I don't know yet. I haven't decided whether I want to do that or not. So it should be a fun time, and I had a fun time over there. So here's the some of the axe throwing. Okay, and like I said, this was an impromptu for the axe throwing, so I apologize in advance to my guest, who is the model for the axe throwing. So here we are inside the box, and she was getting ready to throw it one-handed, like they showed us. A nice young man there was showing us how to do it. We both decided that two-handed throwing was not really for us, so she's rearing back, ready for a throw, and then you get to see the forward motion. This was actually a good throw. I think she nailed it on the center, so it was really cool. So you just had to not really overthink it. Every time we overthought it, it just did not work for us. So this is us not overthinking it, and then we wanted to get the proverbial photo in. So after she threw this one, we decided to get the photo over with, and so then here we are in the photo. I'm not looking too good there, but that's how it is. And so if you notice behind me, over my head, you see that there is like a list of games that you can actually play, and I should have taken more photos, but I didn't. So here are some of the games that we were playing. I think I have another shot here. Let me see what I have. So let's take a look at the next one. Here we are, and if you notice the blocks of wood, which are little, like, I want to say like 4x4 squares, and then they're put together and then they're oiled because it keeps them from chipping. But you notice that there's games here. This is a standard target game where it started out with the target in the center, and then every time we went to another round, the target would move. So this one was in the bottom right corner, but you could see it in different corners throughout the game. It was really a really cool combination of throwing and having fun playing a game. And finally, last but not least, I saw this on the way out before we left, and I was like, wow, okay, so now I'm going to show us a little bit of Ed 209, which is pretty good, and it is, I believe, to scale. So I don't know what it's made of, but it looks pretty cool. So I thought I'd go ahead and throw this in here. I didn't want to make it one of the Zen moments because it's kind of hard to make it a Zen moment to be of Ed 209, who was basically a security / killer robot. But it did turn out very nice. So great time was had at Pinballz for the axe throwing, and then I got to see Ed 209 at the end here. So if you don't know Ed 209, you got to look it up. Okay, so there you have it. Basically the Pinballz, the axe throwing, and a little bit of Ed 209. So for those of you who may not have been to the Pinballz, like I said, it's right off of 183 and Lake Creek Parkway, where I believe it's the Remington Coat Factory is in that same shopping plaza. There's also a little theater there. There's a couple of small shops. There's a McDonald's, and then there's a Wendy's. So you really can't miss it. It's back in there. I decided that we're going to do our Zen moment first, and then we're going to get to the whiskey and the beer so that we can have the alcohol lined up in one section. So just real quick, some of the things that's been going on. It's been raining a little bit on and off here in Austin, Cedar Park specifically. It's been hotter than the Dickens. For those of you who know that phrase, it is unbelievably hot some days. And then we get a little bit of rain, and then the steam comes out. Right now, we're heading into late afternoon. It is August 15th, so it's beginning to get a little bit darker than it had been, even though it's still 4 o'clock, and I know it's because of the clouds, but still, it's not as bright as it used to be, like, say, 3 weeks ago. So that's beginning to tell us something about, the way the sun is beginning to move. So so real brief, my dwarf cherry tree is beginning to show some life again. I believe the shock of it moving from being shipped to me may have kind of shocked it a little bit, of course. So I got some good soil and some good watering on there, and it got watered today from the rain, and if it keeps up, I won't have to water it again later on today. My melons, 3 of the melons seem to still be going well. 2 of them are beginning to I'm seeing one little sprout of life, so I'm hoping that I get some more out of that. So I would really love to get some watermelons going so that we can have a watermelon brunch that I would throw. Now, of course, this is all. And I have another tasting, real quick. I have another tasting coming up in 3 weeks. So if you're vaccinated and you live in the Cedar Park or Austin area and you'd like to come to my party, shoot me a message and I'll send you the invite. Key to that is vaccination. You have to be vaccinated. Everybody I know is vaccinated, and we are all good. So the one coming up is going to be Scheider. Yes, I say Scheider, and if you haven't watched any of my podcasts, you don't know why I like to say Scheider. So, Scheider coming up this month. I'm also trying to get a pumpkin beer tasting going again. Last year, I had a great panel of men and women on here doing a tasting. The problem was that we did it late in the year, as we were expecting pumpkin to be more of a October, November thing, and it turned out that they start putting up pumpkin beer in August. I've already heard from my friends Scott and Jana out at the boutique, and they already have pumpkin beer out there. So they have a couple that we totally dumped on. I think Rob and James and I had it, and we dumped on it. So they have a couple of those. We won't be getting those again. But they have some other ones that I'd like to what's a good way to say it? Reintroduce myself with it. Plus, they have a couple of new ones. So I'm going to try to get out there. I'm not going to try. I'm going to get out there this coming week, pick up a couple, and then we're going to try to have a tasting again here, maybe during the Scheider, or maybe I'll try to set up a different date so that we can do it. I think we will be able to, everybody that I know that would sit down at the panel will be vaccinated. So we'll be able to do that without a problem. And then, so then we have the cider. So I picked up some ciders from Texas Keeper Cidery that were at the farmer's market. I may have to go and hit them again this Saturday and buy some. So I got some actual feedback. Thank you for those who actually gave me some feedback about the last couple of podcasts. And there are some people that were quite, I don't want to say overly upset, but they were very disturbed that I was mentioning about vaccination so much. And of course, the ones, and I'm never going to give out those names, but of course, the ones that were disturbed haven't been vaccinated. So guess what? I don't care. Get vaccinated and then come and give me grief about how it sucks or how your arm hurts now and everything. I don't care. I want to see you alive. I want to see you vaccinated. And if you're vaccinated, I'd like to see you here, hanging out with me, maybe still keeping a social distance depending on what's going on in the world. But if you are vaccinated and you want to come to one of my parties or you want to come to one of my panels, I will let you in that front door. If you are not vaccinated and you think it's some stupid thing because you're being an armchair scientist and don't have a science degree and don't have any real information, I'm going to ask you to stay outside that door. And I probably won't even invite you in the first place. And if you show up, I'll serve you a beer because that's the kind of a nice guy that I am and this is my home, but I'm going to serve it to you out on the curb. And you're not even going to make it to the back because people in the back are going to be vaccinated. So you're going to get your beer at the curb. And of course, if you're at the curb, you can't do any judging. You can't give any points. Can't give best of show. So yes, I'm harping on it. I am beating this dead horse. I will beat this dead horse about getting vaccinated until we no longer need it as much as we do. And again, I'm talking specifically in the United States. I'm not sure what the virus is doing in the other countries. I try to keep up, but it's really difficult. I don't know what their vaccination rules are or their laws or anything like that. I don't know if they're doing it better than us. Yes, they are. But I don't know. They are. But I cannot say and speak for other countries when it comes to vaccination. However, if you come to this country and you come to see me, if you're vaccinated, I will welcome you through that front door. If not, I am going to serve you a beer, maybe a cider, out on that curb. And that's just how it is to it. I need to protect my friends and family, and I am not going to get an additional variant that I can then pass on to friends and family. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So, and yes, I am getting out, but yes, I am wearing a mask when I go out. So, let's stick with that. So, what I want to do is I want to show you the whiskey. Oh, wait, before I show you the whiskey, what I want to do is I actually had a nice breakfast this morning. I met up with James and Julia Takashita, which I've had on the show before. You know what I'm talking about. They made that great musubi that I had on the show last season. And so, and then the movie clip that Julia was talking about as well. But we were out at Dos Mary's. We hadn't seen each other in about a month. We wore our masks in, wore our mask out. But I want to give you a couple of shots of Dos Mary's restaurant. Shout out to them. They are fantastic. They have great, fantastic food, good margaritas, good mimosas. But let me just show you a couple of shots from their restaurant from this morning. And then we'll get back to the Zen Moment, and then we'll get to the beer. I know it's a crazy show, but here we go. Okay, so I know it's it's kind of the plate's already almost more than half eaten, but and I forgot to take a photo beforehand, but this was so good. This was their enchilada breakfast plate, way more than I should have eaten, but there you go, enchiladas, beef enchiladas, refried beans, some potatoes. It also came with a little bit of guacamole on the side, and then also came with 2 eggs, which I had scrambled. So it turned out to be really good. That's pretty much my meal for the day. And then here's just a shot of the restaurant itself. Dos Mary's is literally a 10-minute walk from me. They are fantastic. 2 ladies own it. I will try to get them on the show one day to really talk up their business. They do very well. They have live music. Everybody is masked up as far as the wait service goes, so that is fantastic. Most of the people there also were masked like we were, so kept the place very clean. It was a fantastic place to go. Check it out. Okay, so there you are, Dos Marys. So we're just tagging a lot of people on this episode. A lot of the meta tags are gonna have information in there. So I'm also going to let everybody know. I'm also going to try to add subtitling. I do have some coworkers, and they have now become acquaintances, almost friends of mine who I work with that are deaf. And we talked about it via Slack channel the other day about how I do a podcast, and they were interested in it, and they asked me if I actually have it subtitled. I do not, which is unfortunate because usually it is unfortunate. First of all, I usually do things off the cuff, if you're not able to tell by watching some of these podcasts already. So that makes it difficult for me to try to have a script in advance. So what that means is I need to start doing this podcast creation earlier in the week for Sunday, but then I can have a script written up where I go back and I write up exactly what I'm talking about so that they can then fit the subtitles in there. Basically, not closed captioning per se, but subtitles. So I will have to try to figure that out, and I apologize to them. I haven't sent them a link yet. I told them what I was doing, and I did send them the link. I should say I did send them the link, but there's no subtitles, so they're not really able to get the full environment of what I'm doing. So I am going to try to fix that. Hopefully in the next one or two shows, if I can do it right, and I set myself and focus on it, so they can see it. I think that would be great for them. So that was Dos Marys. I like the place. It's great. I think that the current owners have been there, I want to say maybe a year or more. Probably a little bit more than a year, I would say. Maybe coming up on 2 years. I'll have to see if I can find that out. I'd love to get them on the show. So if anybody watches this and they know the ladies at Dos Marys, which I think Crazy Stacy does, so maybe we can get them on the show one day and sample their wares, so to speak. So okay, so let's go straight into the Zen moment. Here's your Zen moment. So here we are at the whiskey bar at Pinballz. I just wanted to get straight into it right after the Zen moment. So as we talked to a nice gentleman named Shane, he's there at the end of the bar there. Everything's in blue light, what makes it look cool, showing all the different types of whiskey. It was a fantastic whiskey tasting, unbelievable, the fantastic flavor. And we only had two, but they were really, really good. So the first one was actually called Ghost Hill, and it was fantastic. And it seemed to get better the more we let it aerate, kind of like what you do a nice wine or you do for a brandy. And it was volatilizing in the air, and it turned out to be really good. The other one was just as good too, aged in port barrels. And so it turned out to be really good as well. I don't remember the name of that. I'll see if I can get it for the next show. But if you have a chance, go out to Pinballz on Thursday through Sunday. Go to their whiskey bar and tell Shane hello. And he'll set you up with a really good old-fashioned, he says. We didn't try it, but maybe we'll try it next time. So if you saw, I actually added in the whiskey bar without coming back to me, which is great. Like I said, supposedly there's a great old-fashioned made by Shane there, with some of the best whiskeys that you can get in the United States. Fantastic. The two that I had were great. They were mediumly priced, and they were really good. They're not like the whiskey like a certain other Javier 2. You know who I'm talking about. Likes. They're the whiskeys that I like, and so they were really, really good, smooth, soft on the back end. You got that nice flame, that nice light burning sensation you get when you drink a whiskey, but it was smooth. It wasn't rock gut. It didn't tear up your throat. It didn't tear up your esophagus. It didn't tear up, your mouth when you drank it. It wasn't harsh. It was smooth all the way around. And if you let it just sit there, we almost didn't want to finish the whiskey. Like, it was that good. So you have a little sip and let it just warm the senses and warm the body. And whereas what did my cousin Jesse used to say? We're riding the dragon or something like that. I wish I'd had it again. I'll have to ask him what that saying was, or I'll have to go back and check the podcast. But we were definitely riding the dragon that night. So it was really, really good. And we only had two, and we split both of them because it was we didn't want to get too heavy on it as it was. They were mediumly priced, so it turned out to be pretty good. And I'll be back again. I'll definitely might have to do a tasting there with the bro one day, or maybe with James, and we'll see how that is. So I'm gonna switch over to the beer. I know that was part of the Zen moment, so you didn't get to see it. This is 903 Brewery. This is their coconut berry fluff, which is blackcurrant, blackberry, marshmallow, and coconut flavored Berliner Weisse style. So Berliner Weisse style. This is 6.2 ABV, and this is 903 brewer. It's it says a malt beverage with natural flavors. So I'm trying to see. This is out of Sherman, Texas. Now 903. I am a huge fan of 903 brewer. I'm hoping that this is a little bit much as far as like a stretch for me, because I like flavors in what 903 does, but blackcurrant, blackberry, marshmallow, and coconut, and then it's a Berliner Weisse style. I don't know how we're gonna do, but again, it's my personal rating. If you have a difference of opinions and you like it more or like it less or like it more, then just certainly shoot me a message in the comments, or shoot me a message online, or smoke signals, or carrier pigeon, however you want to get a hold of me. So here it is. I don't know if you can see it. I can see. I just thought of doing this the other day, and let me see if I can make it even brighter for you. I don't think you can. It's so really dense. You can't really see it. Sorry about that. It's really dense. You can't see through it. It's a thick. I'm sorry. It's not thick. It's dense. It's not thick. I mean, it moves around fine. It looks like it's got some items in there. Some flotsam and jetsam or something like that. So we'll see how it is. This is their blackcurrant, blackberry, marshmallow, and coconut berry fluff. 903 out of Sherman, Texas. Well, it's definitely a Berliner Weisse. It's very interesting taste. There's a lot of stuff going on here, so I'm trying to get to it all, and I've let this aerate for a little bit. You don't let beer aerate for too long anyway. You want to drink it while it still has life and effervescence to it. But you can definitely smell the blackcurrant and the blackberry. You can't really smell the coconut, and you can't, and you can really get that from the blackberry and the blackcurrant. You really get the coloring out of it. Now, when you first take a drink, you get a little bit of the marshmallow, and then on the back end, you get a little bit of the coconut. I just tasted that coconut on the back end, so I don't know if that's how they meant to do it, but that's where I'm tasting it. Definitely blackcurrant, blackberry, barely little marshmallow, and then coconut. So very interesting. It does hit kind of heavy, so I would not recommend this as a starter beer to start your day drinking. Or if you're in first thing in the morning and you want to have a beer, I wouldn't go with that. I would probably I'd probably pair this up with like a nice sponge cake, just because of the flavors I'm getting from it. And with the sponge cake, you can probably have some fresh fruit over it, or you might even be able to. I don't know if it's good or not, but you might be able to pour some of this over a sponge cake and eat it that way. So I don't know if I'll try it. Maybe if I get enough feedback from everyone, I'll do that. But we got the blackberry, the black coconut. Or I'm sorry, the Coconut Berry Fluff 903 Brewery out of Sherman. It's quite interesting. I don't think your standard beer lovers would like it. I don't even know if some of the craft beer people would like it. It really depends on where you are on the fence when it comes to liking a lot of flavors or a lot of fruit, or a lot of what a lot of beer people don't consider real beer flavors being added to the beer, such as coconut, berries, marshmallow. So definitely something to look at. Check it out. See what you think about it. I'm going to go ahead and give this 6 thumbs up. So there's 2, 4, 6 thumbs up for their Coconut Berry Fluff 903 Brewers. So that's it for the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know if you look over my shoulder, you see something there called Marble Run. I don't know if I've talked it up enough, but I really want to try to get something going with my nephew and I. And I am hooked on Gels Marble Races, Marble League now. And if you don't know what that is, I think I talked about it last season because it got huge during COVID. When there was no sports running and no events that could be done, and no football and no basketball and no baseball and nothing. The Marble Run out of Norway, I believe it's Norway. I can be corrected. I know it's in that area. Got off huge and was even on John Oliver sponsored part of one season and donated money to the food bank. And so it turned out to be really good. So I want to try to get something going with my nephew. He's as crazy as I am about doing stuff like this. So we'll see how it goes. If you get a chance, check out his little YouTube channel called Comical Bot. And so if you give him a shout and let him know that his Uncle Hav was thinking of him, and so he got another person to watch his show. I think he get a kick out of that. So that's it. Wrapping it up. It's been a good little episode. I hope everybody enjoyed the whiskey and the beer. Thanks to 903 Brewers. Thanks to the Brewtique for always providing me these type of beers. Thanks to Pinballz for still being open and being out there. By the way, they don't. I believe they are enforcing masks. I can't say for certain. You will have to call them if you are not going to wear a mask. I think personally you should be out on the curb if you're not going to be vaccinated, but that's my thing. But wear a mask if you can, please. Be safe for your fellow man, not just for yourself. And we all get vaccinated whenever we can, and for other things, so why not for this? Okay, so if you have a business and you're interested in being on my show, Javier In The Air, then shoot me a message. Let me know. I need more contact from you to let me know you're interested than me just randomly trying to get people. I find that doesn't seem to work. So if you're interested in talking about your business, or you're talking about science or industry or something that you are passionate about, arts, crafts, whatever, then let me know and I'll get you on the show. So have a great week. We are heading into middle of August, and we'll see how the sun treats us the next week or so. All right, until next week, have a great day, have a great evening, and I'll see you then. Take care.